Chapter 1: The Silent Observer. The Himalayas stretched endlessly beneath the heavens, their snow-clad peaks standing as ancient sentinels of time. Amidst them, Mount Kailash rose like a divine monument, untouched, unyielding, sacred. Unlike the rest of the world, where the cycles of life ebbed and flowed in a constant dance of creation and destruction, Kailash remained still, silent, eternal, watching. Upon its sacred peak, in a state of deep, motionless meditation, sat Lord Shiva, the Adi Yogi. He was neither God nor man but something beyond mortal understanding, a force of existence itself. His matted hair held the cosmic river, his skin bore the ash of countless dissolutions, and his half-closed eyes contained the mysteries of the universe. His breath was the rhythm of creation. His silence was the language of eternity. Eons passed, yet he did not move. Time itself seemed irrelevant before him. Civilizations rose and crumbled, kings were born and perished, the stars shifted in their celestial dance, but Shiva remained, lost in his own infinite depth. The world had forgotten him, and he had withdrawn from the world. Yet, unknown to the beings of existence, a great shift was occurring. In the celestial realms, the balance of the universe was beginning to waver. The Devas, gods, guardians of cosmic harmony, felt the tremors of an impending darkness. The world of humans had drifted far from its true nature, desire, greed, and ignorance had spread like wildfire. The knowledge of the self was forgotten, the path to liberation lay buried beneath illusions. The great sages and rishis had tried to guide humanity, yet their wisdom was rejected or distorted. The rulers of men had turned their backs on truth, choosing conquest over contemplation. Even the most devoted seekers struggled to find clarity in the chaos of existence. The Devas, troubled by this decline, gathered in the high heavens to seek a solution. Brahma, the creator, and Vishnu, the preserver, sat in deep discussion, their divine minds entwined in thought. There was once a time when humans walked the path of dharma, Brahma mused, stroking his long, white beard. Now they chase shadows, forgetting their true essence. The material world has chained them, Vishnu agreed. Their minds are restless, their hearts filled with longing for what is impermanent. They do not realize that they are not the body, nor the fleeting emotions that consume them. They are the eternal self, bound only by their ignorance. Indra, king of the gods, spoke with frustration. Then let us intervene. Let us descend and set the world right. But Vishnu shook his head. No, Indra. The nature of truth cannot be enforced. It must be sought. A silence settled over the celestial assembly. If force could not return humans to the path of wisdom, then what could? Then, from the vast sky, a voice resonated, a voice both distant and near, both thunderous and gentle. He must awaken. The gods turned toward the source of the voice, and there stood Narada, the celestial sage, the divine wanderer who traveled between realms. His eyes gleamed with knowledge as he repeated his words. Shiva must awaken. The Devas fell silent, contemplating the weight of these words. No one had seen Shiva in ages beyond measure. He had withdrawn into his eternal meditation, disconnected from the world, transcending even the duties of the gods. He had dissolved into stillness, allowing existence to unfold without intervention. But now, the universe needed him. Thus, the celestial beings, led by the most ancient of sages, the Saptarishis, 7 sages, began their journey to the abode of the silent observer. These sages were not ordinary men, they were beings of pure wisdom, chosen to receive and spread the highest knowledge across existence. They had meditated for eons, journeyed through countless lifetimes, and transcended the illusions of the world. Yet, even they felt humbled as they approached Kailash. The journey was arduous, not because of the mountains, not because of the freezing winds that howled through the valleys, but because of the sheer spiritual weight of the place. The closer they came to Shiva's presence, the deeper their own egos dissolved. Their minds, trained through countless disciplines, struggled to hold firm before the sheer vastness of his energy. Finally, after what felt like a passage through eternity, they arrived. Shiva sat beneath the endless sky, his body as still as the mountain itself. His form was covered in layers of time, his hair entwined with the cosmos, his skin dusted with the ashes of creation's cycles. The crescent moon upon his brow shone faintly, a lone beacon in the vastness of existence. The Saptarishis bowed low, their foreheads touching the sacred ground. They had reached the source, the one who held the wisdom of all things. Yet Shiva did not stir. The wind carried whispers of the cosmos, but the Adi Yogi remained unmoved. His presence was overwhelming, not because of any display of power, but because of the sheer depth of his stillness. The sages waited. They knew that true wisdom could never be demanded, it could only be received when the seeker was ready. Time slipped away, though they no longer felt it. Days turned to weeks, perhaps even longer, yet Shiva remained in meditation, as if the universe itself were but a passing dream to him. The sages began their own meditations, attuning themselves to the subtle rhythms of his energy. They emptied their minds, dissolving every trace of ego, every last drop of longing, until nothing remained but pure presence. It was then, in that perfect silence, that something changed. A shift in the air. A vibration beyond sound. Shiva opened his eyes. The moment was not an explosion, nor a grand proclamation, but a simple opening of eyes, yet it shook the very fabric of existence. The sages felt as if the universe had just taken its first breath. The air itself seemed to tremble with awareness, and in that moment, they understood, this was not merely the awakening of a being, this was the awakening of yoga itself. Shiva's gaze fell upon them, not as a god looking upon mortals, nor as a teacher observing students, but as an ocean reflecting the sky, vast, infinite, and mirroring their own deepest truths. The sages did not speak, for there was nothing to say. They had come seeking knowledge, but in his presence, they realized that knowledge was not something to be given, it was something to be experienced. Shiva, the Adi Yogi, had awoken. And with him, a new path was about to unfold, the path of yoga, the path of ultimate liberation. Chapter 2: The Test of Devotion. The Saptarishis knelt before Shiva, their hearts brimming with reverence, their minds overwhelmed by the magnitude of his presence. They had journeyed across time and space to reach him, seeking the wisdom that could restore balance to the world. They had stood before kings and sages, had meditated in the deepest forests, had renounced the distractions of the mortal world, but nothing had prepared them for this silence. Shiva's gaze, vast as the cosmos, had fallen upon them, and in that instant, they had felt a profound transformation. They expected words of guidance, a revelation of the ultimate truth. But instead, there was nothing. He did not speak. He did not acknowledge them. He simply closed his eyes once more, retreating into the depths of meditation, as if their presence had been no more than a passing wind through the mountains. The sages exchanged glances, their minds troubled yet resolute. They had expected a test, but they had not foreseen this, an unbroken silence that stretched across time itself. Still, they were not ordinary men. They were seekers, bound by purpose. They would not leave without receiving his wisdom. And so, they stayed. Days passed. Then weeks. Then months. The Saptarishis did not move from their place, sitting in meditative stillness before the Adi Yogi. The sun rose and fell in its eternal cycle, seasons shifted, and yet Shiva remained unmoved. His presence was overwhelming, not because of any grand display of power, but because of the sheer weight of his stillness. At first, their minds fought against the silence. Questions arose. Doubts whispered. Is he refusing to teach us? Have we been deemed unworthy? Perhaps this is his way of testing us. But how long must we endure? Will we wait until our bodies wither? Until we dissolve into dust? But there were no answers. The wind howled through the mountains, the snow fell in endless sheets, but Shiva's silence remained absolute. The first true test of a seeker is patience. The ability to wait without expectation. To surrender, rather than demand. Slowly, the sages realized that this was the teaching. The more they fought the silence, the more restless they became. But when they surrendered to it, the silence became their ally, their gateway to deeper understanding. Years passed. The world below changed, but on Mount Kailash, time lost its meaning. The Saptarishis no longer counted the days. They no longer hoped for Shiva to speak. They simply became part of the stillness. They meditated through ragging storms, through the piercing cold that could freeze mortal bones. They sat unmoved as wild animals roamed past them, as the elements battered their bodies. Their hunger ceased. Their attachments dissolved. They were no longer waiting. They were ready. One day, as the sages sat in their deep meditative state, a change occurred. The wind stilled. The air itself seemed to pause, as if holding its breath. And then, without warning, Shiva rose. It was not a grand movement, nor a sudden awakening. He simply stood, his presence shifting like the axis of existence itself. The sages opened their eyes, sensing the shift, their breaths hitching in anticipation. For the first time in years, Shiva's gaze met theirs once more. His expression remained unreadable, neither pleased nor disappointed, neither welcoming nor dismissive. And then he walked away. Without a word. Without an explanation. Just walked away, deeper into the mountains, vanishing into the snow-laden peaks. The sages did not hesitate. They followed. Their bodies, weakened by years of penance, screamed in protest, but they ignored the pain. Their journey was not over. Through treacherous paths, over frozen rivers and jagged cliffs, they pursued him. Days stretched into weeks, yet Shiva never stopped, never looked back. He walked with effortless grace, as if the elements bent to his will. For the sages, however, it was an ordeal beyond anything they had endured. The icy winds cut through their skin, their feet bled from the relentless journey, hunger gnawed at their insides, but they did not falter. They would follow him to the ends of the universe if they had to. One by one, their limitations fell away. They had shed their attachments to the world, but now they shed their attachments to even their own suffering. After what seemed an eternity, Shiva finally stopped. They had reached the highest peak, where the sky kissed the earth, where the mortal world seemed to dissolve into the infinite. Shiva turned, his expression still unreadable. The Saptarishis, exhausted and near collapse, stood before him, no longer as seekers demanding answers, but as empty vessels ready to receive. And then, for the first time since their arrival, Shiva spoke. "Why have you come?" Shiva studied them for a long moment. Then he asked a question that would define their very existence. "What will you sacrifice for it?" The sages did not answer with words. Instead, they did the only thing left to do. They knelt before him and placed their heads on the ground. They surrendered. Not just physically, but in the deepest sense. They surrendered their egos, their desires, their identities. They were no longer 7 individuals, they were simply seekers of truth, willing to dissolve into it completely. A silence followed, this time, not the painful silence of waiting, but the sacred silence of acceptance. And in that moment, Shiva smiled. Not a smile of amusement, nor pride, but of something deeper, a recognition. They had passed the test. Shiva sat down upon the peak of the mountain, and the Saptarishis followed. For the first time in the history of the world, the knowledge of yoga was about to be revealed. The transformation of the human race had begun. Chapter 3: The First Revelation, Hatha Yoga, the Discipline of the Body. The air on Mount Kailash shimmered with an energy unlike any before. The universe itself seemed to lean in, listening, as Shiva, the Adi Yogi, prepared to impart the first wisdom to his 7 disciples. The Saptarishis sat before him, their bodies weary but their spirits awakened, ready to receive what had never been spoken before. Shiva looked upon them with the eyes of one who had seen all things, the rise and fall of civilizations, the birth and destruction of stars, the endless cycles of creation and dissolution. And then, he began to speak. Before the mind can rise, before the spirit can soar, the body must become a fitting vessel. Without mastery of the body, higher wisdom is lost, like water in a broken pot. The Saptarishis listened in rapt attention as Shiva unfolded the first revelation, Hatha Yoga, the discipline of the body. You seek liberation, yet you have neglected the very form that houses your spirit. To reach the infinite, one must first perfect the finite. With these words, the foundation of physical yoga was laid. Shiva stood, his movements fluid as a river yet rooted like the mountains. The sages watched as he transitioned into a posture that seemed at once effortless and powerful, his spine erect, his breath steady, his body aligned with an unseen force. This is the first step, he said. The body is your first temple. It must be strengthened, purified, and aligned with existence. Thus, he began demonstrating asanas, the physical postures that would one day become the foundation of yoga. The asanas taught by Shiva 1. Vrikshasana, tree pose, balance standing on one leg, Shiva lifted the other foot to rest against his thigh, hands rising skyward. As a tree stands firm despite the winds, so must your body find stillness amidst chaos. The sages struggled at first, losing balance, trembling under their own weight. But they persisted. To Bhujangasana, cobra pose, flexibility and awareness lying on his belly, Shiva lifted his chest, stretching his spine in a curve. Like a serpent that sheds its skin, your body must shed its rigidity and awaken. The sages felt their stiffness, their limitations, but with each repetition, their backs grew supple, their breath more controlled. 3. Tadasana, mountain pose, rootedness and strength. Shiva stood tall, feet grounded, arms extended. His presence became like Kailash itself, unshakable. Be as the mountain, firm, immovable, and yet one with the sky. The sages stood, feeling their own weight, their own solidity, learning to be present in stillness. 4. Padmasana, lotus pose, meditation and stability. Crossing his legs, placing each foot upon the opposite thigh, Shiva entered Padmasana, the seat of meditation. When the body is at peace, the mind can enter the infinite. The sages struggled to hold the pose, their joints protesting, their muscles resisting. But they endured. For days, weeks, and months, the Saptarishis practiced under Shiva's guidance. Their bodies transformed, no longer weak from their penance but powerful, aligned, and ready for the next stage. One evening, as the sky burned in hues of orange and gold, Shiva gathered the sages once more. You have learned to shape your body. Now, you must master the force that sustains it, your breath. He placed a hand upon his chest and inhaled deeply, deliberately. The air around him seemed to still, as if drawn into his very being. Prana, the life force, is the bridge between body and mind. Control the breath, and you control both. He then demonstrated the first techniques of pranayam, the control of breath, times nadi shodhana, alternate nostril breathing, purifying the body's energy channels. Times bhastrika, bellows breath, awakening inner fire and vitality. Times ujjayi, ocean breath, harnessing inner stillness through sound. The sages followed his instructions, their lungs expanding, their awareness deepening. For the first time, they felt energy moving within them, not just air, but life itself. Hatha Yoga had begun to transform them, not just in body, but in being. As Shiva's teachings continued, word of his disciples spread. Across the valleys and plains below Kailash, whispers grew of sages who no longer ate, yet were filled with energy, of men who could withstand the coldest nights in silent meditation. One such whisper reached King Vajrabahu, a ruler from the northern lands. A man of war and conquest, Vajrabahu had no patience for mysticism. These men claimed to have found strength in stillness, power in silence. He mocked. I will see for myself. With his army of warriors, Vajrabahu ascended the lower ranges of Kailash. His soldiers, dressed in iron and leather, carried swords and shields, symbols of mortal strength. Upon reaching the sages, he laughed openly. You sit here, bending your bodies like dancers, breathing like frightened animals. This is your great path? Strength is in the arm that wields the sword, not in empty air. The Saptarishis did not respond. They remained rooted in Padmasana, unmoved by his words. This angered Vajrabahu. He drew his sword and pointed it at one of the sages. Stand and fight, if you truly have strength, he challenged. The sage simply smiled. Without a word, he stood on one leg, entering Vrikshasana, tree pose. His eyes remained closed, his breath slow, his body unshaken. Vajrabahu scoffed. He struck at the sage's outstretched arm, yet the moment his sword touched flesh, a shockwave of energy pulsed through him. A force beyond sight knocked him backward. His body trembled, his breath stolen by an unseen power. His sword fell from his grasp. The air around the sages vibrated with something ancient, something unbreakable. Vajrabahu's men watched in shock as their king, once a man of unshaken might, knelt before a silent sage. What power is this? Vajrabahu whispered. The sage opened his eyes and spoke, for the first time, the power of one who has mastered himself. Vajrabahu, humbled, rose to his feet. He bowed, not in defeat, but in respect. Then, without another word, he and his army departed. The lesson was clear. True strength did not come from weapons. It came from within. That night, as the fire flickered before them, Shiva looked upon his disciples. You have begun to master the body. You have tasted the power of stillness. But this is only the beginning. The sages listened, knowing now that the body was merely the foundation. The true journey, the journey of the mind and spirit, was yet to begin. Hatha Yoga was only the first step.